Hello and welcome to Inside the Club, the official podcast for Shoreham FC where we take you behind the scenes of the club, funnily enough. We're here to cover the past and present stories, the people and the passion that makes the club what it is today.
We're your hosts, Brian Dye and Joshua Risborough, and today's episode focusing on heritage, which is something Shoreham do not lack. We're going to explore the roots over the next series of podcasts which cover certain themes which have shaped the Musclemen for over a century.
We are joined by three guests who we are eager to hear from.
First, we have the current Co-Chairman, Stuart Slaney. We also have a university placement student, Roxanne, alongside us.
Thank you.
And formerly we have player Kevin Keehan, who has also authored the book Sussex Football 60s to Today.
Alright, Roxanne, we'll begin by hearing from you. Can you tell us what you have found out of the formation of the club and any interesting facts you may have come across in your research?
So I first made it a point to research about the origins of the Shoreham club, and I found out that it actually dates back to the 1880s. Apparently, according to a website called Shoreham by Sea, there are reports that states that a football club did exist, but it wasn't a part of a structured league. And according to the Brighton Times, there was a report published in 1885 that stated that there was a club called Southdown FC which was formed in Shoreham. And the secretary was a Mr. Harold Brown, who was later one of the leading notaries also in Shoreham. Then after a few years, the team split into Southdown FC and Shoreham FC. And apparently the Shoreham team, there were quite a few names for it. First there was Shoreham Swifts, Shoreham Excelsior, and then it all came down to just Shoreham. I had a question for our guests today, Kevin and Stuart. Are there any historical moments that you can remember about Shoreham, about the origins that you can share with us today?
I'll let Kevin go first.
Okay. I've played, I think, my first game for Shoreham in 1972. They were very successful in the 50s,
Okay.
where they won the league a few times, and they had a chairman at that point who was also the manager of the club, and he was very outspoken and very, very confident in his own ability, but he did a great job, and they won the league, I think, 2 or 3 times in the 50s. As I say, I played in the 70s when they'd had a little bit more of a difficult time, and we were in County 2 then, and I played under Dickie Harrocks to start with, and then Jimmy Collins, and then my dad became manager, and then we won Division 2 in 77, and then won Division 1 in 78. So my dad was flying, predicting all sorts of things, and didn't really come to fruition after that. But it was great times, and no one got paid. Everyone paid their own expenses, so it was a time when we played to enjoy it.
Proper football.
Proper football, yeah.
Exactly. If you would like to present your book to the cameras over there.
Yeah, this was, as I say, I started it from the first year I played, so in 1970-71, and I was playing for Southwick, the enemy then, and I started it in COVID, because I was doing some football scouting. I couldn't do that, so I thought, what can I do? So I started off with the book. So it's a year by year account of what happened up until 2023, 22, and it's pen pictures on 1,200 players that played from the 60s all the way through. So for anyone that like one, they can get one from Shoreham Football Club.
Nice little plug. That is fascinating, the fact that you started it in 70-71, where Arsenal won the double, by the way. But
Yeah. Do you want to know the team?
Go ahead. Nah, never mind. I just wanted to ask you, is there anything unique or different about Shoreham compared to other clubs that are based in Sussex, based on your research or based on your own personal experience playing for the club?
I wouldn't say unique, because most of the clubs are all set up, on a similar basis. It's all about personalities that come in and why they're coming in. Stuart obviously has come in from an ADA youth team background and wanted to enhance their futures in football, which has been successful to a degree doing that. So obviously if you're playing for ADA, then if you can't get into the Albion's team, then this is where you want to be.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. It's all about progress, about boys improving, and ultimately playing at the highest level they can.
Right, do you have any more questions for Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, we can continue. I have a lot more questions for you all. We will get into the heritage
Fair
part.
enough.
Go ahead.
You mentioned that did you say that you were playing for Southwick?
I played for Southwick,
Oh, okay,
when I was 15, yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
So apparently Southwick and Shoreham have had like a legendary rivalry. And I also did read that there was a tradition where whenever matches were held in Shoreham, the supporters would meet the rivals at Shoreham FC and they would continue fighting till the grounds of the match. And after the match was over, they would continue fighting. Is that
Fighting?
Yeah.
No.
Do you remember
No,
anything?
well, Kevin might remember more than that.
It wouldn't have been anything.
Might have been
like
a
that.
lot of cheering and jeering, but
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think there would have been any of that. I mean, in those days, in the 70s, for a Shoreham Southwick game, there could be 1,000 people watching. Which is obviously, now it might be. Well, Southwick aren't in existence anymore, and at the time they were the bigger club. They'd won the county league and the senior cup, and that sort of thing. So, but there was a rivalry between the clubs, and certainly between the players, and but that's part and parcel of playing football. You get the rivalry, you have a bit of banter on the pitch, and maybe a bit of banter afterwards, but respectful.
Are there any specific traditions you remember, like chants, like the chants of football, nothing like that?
No, there wouldn't have been.
no, it's
Okay.
just
There's
Bit of
abuse now and
the
again.
usual abuse, which carries on still. But it's just a shame that Southwick's gone now because we haven't got a local derby, which is a shame. But
Do you know when they were extinct?
4 years before lockdown.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
People have tried to resurrect it, but it just hasn't worked out.
Hasn't had the demand, I suppose.
Yeah, but you think in like 1970, they didn't have changing rooms in the ground. The changing rooms were in the park, and the players had to run down to the pitch with the fans going to pay through the turnstiles. So it was a different world then, but it was fantastic. The football, the camaraderie within the game, and as I say, you had battles. And when I did this book, I started off thinking, oh yeah, I enjoyed playing against him. I had good battles with him, and when it came to it, I thought there's only 2 or 3 people that I'd want to put something nasty about out of 1,200 in there, and so that's what football brings. It brings people from different backgrounds, different standards of living, if you say so. And if you play football, you can normally converse and enjoy company of someone who's like a builder or someone who's a millionaire, because it brings everyone together.
That's the whole thing with community, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's like you say, it is about community.
Oh, we will get to Stuart in a minute. I just wanted to say, it's fascinating that what's the word, rebuke the idea that Southwick and Shoreham fans were fighting each other from the train station to the stadium and whatnot. Because me and Roxanne actually interviewed someone called Andy. I can't remember his surname, but he's an aviation expert. And he says that definitely happened. It was definitely a part of the rivalry.
I was probably in the
Kevin
changing
wasn't
room.
involved in, so he wasn't fighting. I don't know.
I never saw any. I was obviously playing, so I never saw any. I was never aware of it, and I'm surprised I'd be surprised if it
I
happened.
think it was during the time when Oxenfield, when the location of Oxenfield existed. So I think this was way back before you even started playing.
Oh, yeah. Well,
It
that's-
might be a possibility.
Well, it might, yeah.
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 Well, it's strange that you played in the 70s and hooliganism wasn't such a big problem.
Well, yeah. Well, if you were a Millwall fan, it would, yeah, there was plenty of that going on in the professional game.
Of course.
But I never saw any and was never aware of anything within the county league.
Common sense prevails in the non-league, you would have thought.
It certainly seems so, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to Stuart now. You are the co-chairman of the club, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Good to know. As someone who's leading the club at this very moment, we would like to get into the contemporary day, but listen, this is about heritage, so we won't get too much into that. Do you personally have any memories of Shoreham in the earlier years?
Yeah, I used to come down here in mid-80s and 90s to watch my friends play here. Nick Marnie, Craig Cheeseman, as you all know. And then a friend of mine who's now dearly departed, Ian Spottiswood, he was down here, so I used to come down here. He was a sponge man in those days. You had a bucket and a sponge and water, and that was it. You didn't have a physio bag. You just run on with a bucket, which you're not allowed to do now. So I used to come down here, watch the team, and then the odd game I'd come down and watch. And then eventually, Spotty said, "Oh, you've got a son now, haven't you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "How old is he?" I said, 8. He said, "Do you fancy getting him and his mates together and starting a youth team up down here?" So I said, "Yes."
Nice one.
And that's the first youth team I think Shoreham Football Club ever had. And then we built, I became youth chair, and we had about 16 teams in the end. And eventually, stupidly, bought the football club. So, there you go. There you go. Yeah.
Fair enough. That's fascinating on the youth. Obviously, we're going to get into youth at a later date. This is more about the heritage.
Yeah.
It's fascinating that you were essentially one of the pioneers of the whole youth project that Shoreham have now. How important, leading on to that, is youth in terms of the history of Shoreham Football Club?
Well, the youth is basically the community of the football, of the actual Shoreham Shoreham Club. And then basically, if Shoreham wasn't here, like Southwick, God knows where the kids would be, what they'd be doing now. They definitely won't be playing football because there isn't anywhere else around here. So it's important that we strategise and grow the youth section here in order then to facilitate the senior teams for later on. Rather than having to go and find new players, we have a conveyor belt of players through to the senior teams.
That's fascinating, that is brilliant. I mean, you're all about helping the community and all that, and I guess that links into the heritage of Shoreham as a football club.
Yeah.
So fair play, mate.
Well, I'll give you one unique thing that sets us out to the rest of the other clubs in the area. I believe Brighton Hove Albion's first league football match was against Shoreham Football Club
Yes, it was.
at Dyke Road.
That's
Up
it.
Dyke, I think, up Dyke Road somewhere.
Well, Baswick.
That's it.
Yeah.
And Brighton Hove Albion's first FA Cup game, again, was against Shoreham. And there's a plaque up there that tells you all the history. It's quite small, the blue one there. You can have a look at that later. So I think that's what differentiates us from a lot of the other clubs in the county now.
Especially as we look at it through a contemporary lens, because obviously Brighton are the pride of Sussex in terms of their, well, no offence to you lads.
No, it's
I mean, very
no,
top
I don't
top.
support them anyway, so that doesn't matter.
Fair play, mate. I work there, I've got to be careful with my words. But
I used to work there in the old days at the Goldstone.
yes.
Yes.
So I remember some fella talking about how Brian Clough gave him a lift home from the Goldstone Stadium. But that's fascinating. That is, we look at Sussex, we look at Brighton as the top dog in the county, well, in both counties essentially.
Yeah.
Their first game was against this club,
Yeah.
Shoreham FC, and we have the privilege of talking about Shoreham now. It's brilliant history, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. Yeah. Not a lot of people know that. So.
Yeah, exactly. Even people in Sussex, they don't seem to have a clue. So.
No.
I didn't know that.
No offence, mate.
Never read them and they're like,
I brought my glasses.
The first game, the league game, I believe was quite tight. The second one, I think that's when they started becoming a semi-pro
Yeah.
club or paying players, and they beat us something like 14-1 or something
Just a
stupid
couple
in
of
the FA
divisions
Cup.
between the teams.
Yeah. So so there is quite a history between us and Brighton.
Is there any like modern traditions or like nowadays that you try to preserve from like previous traditions in earlier years? Is there?
No, it's just basically keeping the ethos of what Shoreham Football Club's all about.
Obviously, football changes quite a lot. It moves at quite a quick speed. But do you feel
Football
like
changes, but the infrastructure and your supporters never do. And what we try to do here, because since I've been here, it's all family orientated. So the co-chairman with me, Malcolm, he's down here. His wife works in the kitchen. His daughter and his son-in-law come down to every game. His grandchild comes down to every game. My brother does the turnstiles. My cousin does stewarding. My son's head of development down here for the youth. So we do try to keep it all communitysed and family orientated.
Is there any like modern traditions or like nowadays that you try to preserve from like previous traditions in earlier years? Is there?
No, it's just basically keeping the ethos of what Shoreham Football Club's all about.
Obviously, football changes quite a lot. It moves at quite a quick speed. But do you feel
Football
like
changes, but the infrastructure and your supporters never do. And what we try to do here, because since I've been here, it's all family orientated. So the co-chairman with me, Malcolm, he's down here. His wife works in the kitchen. His daughter and his son-in-law come down to every game. His grandchild comes down to every game. My brother does the turnstiles. My cousin does stewarding. My son's head of development down here for the youth. So we do try to keep it all communitysed and family orientated.
This is it. You keep your heritage, you keep your tradition.
Yeah.
But football is such an evolving sport. It's such an evolving game. We're obviously in the modern day, and I know this is about heritage, but we're in the modern day. It's in 2025. We're in a state of, we see the current state of modern football as it is. How do you, as the co-chairman of the club, co-balance preserving tradition whilst also adapting to the demands of modern football?
Well, traditions will always be traditions, but the modern football, basically I think what you mean is on the pitch, is it, with the players and management?
Well, if you want to delve deeper, then...
But good thing about non-league football, and a lot of people are now turning in their season ticket at Brighton or wherever they're going to be in order because they're fed up, and they'll come down to their local, whether it's Shoreham or your other local team, where you can bring your kids down 3 o'clock, have a beer, watch the football, have a good chat with everybody, get home, take you about 10 minutes to get home rather than 3 hours or whatever it is, and enjoy it. The balance you got to get is what they come down to watch is on the pitch.
Well,
yeah, and at the moment we're in turmoil. At the moment, but we're trying to get out of that. So we're writing off this season based on previous stuff that's recently happened, which we can't do anything about. But the supporters are still behind us, and all the supporters are worried about is the club being here, making sure that all the youth come through, and maybe one of the supporters' little grandson, Charlie, or little Lisa, will eventually play for the first team or some of the senior teams.
fair enough, mate. I wanted to ask quickly. We are obviously exploring Shoreham's past.
Yeah.
Is there any part of Shoreham's past, or Shoreham's history, or Shoreham's traditions, perhaps, that you feel like it's your job to protect for the here and now? Because obviously we've linked it back to modern football and whatnot. Does that potentially endanger any tradition?
No, because we're in the boardroom at the moment. If you can see, we deliberately put out all the pictures we have here and what we're talking about today. We talk about historic stuff, and we just mentioned the stuff about Kevin, his dad, his granddad, his great-great-granddad, whoever it is, played and managed the club. It should be called Keehan United Football Club, I don't know, but no, it's just keeping those things alive. And then it's mentioned about the Brighton thing, and we've got pictures up there now to show you how the ground's been built over the last 20, 30 years. So that's what we do promote a lot.
I think that's important,
Yeah.
isn't it? the thing is that as the professional game has improved, so has the development of the clubs. I mean, when I played here in 72, they put canvas sheeting round two sides of the pitch to enclose it, and then that had to be taken down after the game, rolled up until the next game, and then it went up again and that sort of thing. And then the chairman at that time was Alfie Bloom, Tony Bloom's uncle.
There you go, that's another connection. There
Yeah.
you go.
So the Blooms have been connected within Sussex Football for a long time. So Alfie was chairman here for quite a while. Ray Bloom was chairman of Worthing for a while, who was a brother, and obviously he's on the director of the Albion now, Ray. But I think the important thing is that the pitches on, if you watch a 70s game from a televised game, the pitches were mud from one end to the other, and it didn't matter what the pitch was like, they played the game. And the same happened here. The standard of the pitches in the professional game has got so much better, the stadiums have got so much better, and gradually the stadiums and everything are getting better at the lower level, because they have to survive. They have to, the leagues set a precedent and say, this is what you need to have done to play in this league. If you want to go into the next one, you've got to have more seats, more this, more that. And as I say, in 72, they put a canvas fencing round. They had railings round the pitch, but that was it. Everyone else just stood where they liked. There wasn't the stand, no lights. No one had lights then, other than the Albion. So
We had an advantage early on.
well, it's just things progress, and that the clubhouses have all, you do what you can, the best you can within your means, and that's the problem. And unfortunately, sometimes within this standard of football, a bit like you get a sugar daddy comes along who says, I'm going to take this club to this level, and this level, and this level, and they start paying money, and they go up, and all of a sudden they might have got promotion twice, and they've got the chest stuck out, and then all of a sudden it stays the same, and they say, why are we paying all this money out to stay the same? So they start cutting it back, and lo and behold, the clubs end up back where they started, and in some instances fold. And it's happened at Dr. Martin's fella owned. The fella owned Dr. Martin's boots.
Dagenham?
No,
No?
it was.
It's in London,
My son,
isn't it?
no, my son. Oh God, my son played for him. It'll come to me anyway. But basically, he threw a lot of money at it and got ex-professionals playing for him. They were successful. They got to the Football League, and then he had serious illness, and he thought, well, why am I putting myself under all this pressure? And so he pulled out his money, and the club folded. Over a period. The same thing happened to a Scottish team, and you have to have the infrastructure within the club, and you must take it forward at a pace that the football club can sustain.
Exactly.
There's no point in throwing a lot of money at it for one season, and because it just costs you, and it doesn't last.
Well, that's the thing. Owning a football club, as in running it like a business, the natural course of action is you're going to lose money anyway. So.
Yeah, unless you're Tony Bloom.
Well, of course, yeah.
To be fair to him, I used to pick him up. I worked for his dad, and I have to pick him up from school with his brother sometimes. But you can't argue with what he's done and the way he's done it, because he's a phenomenon. He's a one-off. He's got a fantastic brain, and that every club is trying to copy how he does things
Exactly.
now.
You see what's happening up in Hearts in Scotland as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a testament to his ownership, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think they beat Celtic yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a hero in this part of the.
He really is a hero in this
Well,
part
he
of
is.
Sussex.
But just another thing. The previous hero was Dick Knight,
Yeah.
who's my uncle, and I worked
What
for
another connection.
I worked for the Albion for 9 years as the commercial manager, and yeah, Dick took them to a level that was successful. When they were going to go bust, they were going to go out of the league, and they might not have existed, and it was that close. And then he's turned it around, and Tony's obviously just taken it on and taken it to the next level. But I digress from Shoreham. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No, that's interesting. I just want to go ahead quickly. What years was he owner of Brighton?
Dick.
Yeah.
97, I think, till 2009, 10, something like that, I think. So
a
it took-
stabilising period from.
It was, and he took them, because the Golston got sold from under their feet, so he took them to Gillingham and then to Withdean.
Yeah.
And got the planning for the new stadium, and then Tony took over and built it. But yeah, he's just taken it to another level that Brighton fans couldn't have ever foreseen.
Exactly. Especially as a club with 0 major trophies as well.
Yeah.
So fair play to him.
Yeah.
Just going back to your time playing, is there any special memories that you look back on now and remember vividly?
Yeah, well, obviously the 2 seasons that we won the 2 leagues was special. You know, we turned up at the beginning of the season. My dad was the manager, and a pal of mine who I see regularly, he said, "I can't believe it, Kevin." We sat down at pre-season training and said, "Make no mistake, this was after we won Division 2. We're going to win Division 1. This is with you players here." And my mate said, I looked round and I thought, we haven't got any players. But the thing is with my dad is, if you've done well for him, he told the world how good you were. And of course, if someone tells you you're the best at what you do, you think, I am. And we had a fantastic season. Great lads we played with. We all gelled well, which is the key for any successful team. It was a fantastic couple of years.
What position did you play, Courtney?
I played at centre half or centre forward in those 2 years.
Blimey, that's quite versatile.
When I first played, I played at fullback for Shoreham, and they recommended me to the Albion, and I went and I played 4 games in the reserves there as a fullback.
Arteta would like you these days.
Oh yeah, I'll still sign for him if he wants me.
Well, I mean,
Might need
after
you.
our defending on Saturday, we do need to get back.
This question is to Roxanne and anyone else who wants to join. Is there when you were looking at the heritage, is there anything that shocked you when you were looking at it, or anything that really stood out about the heritage?
Nothing shocked me in the sense. It was really fascinating though to read all about Shoreham. What really struck me, and I wanted to know more from you, was the seasons. In the historical context, there were a lot of relegations, promotions, a lot of. It was a tumultuous era for Shoreham, and we can kind of see it happening in the current stage too. So how do you as a chairman, how do you pull through these kind of scenarios, and how do you encourage your committee members to still put their head in the game and be like, yeah, we're going to get through this?
Well, the current situation at the moment, we were doing very well at the beginning of the season. I think we were 2nd in the league or 3rd. And then the manager left and took all the players. So you can't really mitigate for that. So, and to try and get players this time of this season is very, very, very hard. So all we're doing now is trying to consolidate and see where we go. stick with the manager we got at the moment, and then just sort of run the tides and get through the season. If we stay up, great. If not, then we move down to Division 1 again, and the plan is to romp that league, get promoted straight away for next season, based on the infrastructure we're putting together. We're starting building for next season, no matter what league we're going to be in, and that will be set in stone.
I guess this is a good way to bring it back to the modern day. Obviously, you're talking about you're already planning for next season. What are those plans, if you don't mind us asking?
Well, the plans are making sure we got the proper backroom staff in order to attract the players that we want, because at the moment the players that we would like to have are also playing at other clubs at the moment, and so the plan is just to make sure we got the infrastructure and the funds in place for taking on next season, no matter what league we're in, whether we're still in the Premier or in Division 1. But the plan is just to make sure we bounce back from this season's sort of like situation that you couldn't have foreseen. And just bounce back, and all the supporters are behind us.
Why do you think this season has turned out the way it has?
Well, because the manager left and took all the players. End of, really.
That'd be a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
That's the thing with in non-league, that can happen. It's not the first time it's happened.
No.
It won't be the last time. If the manager gets a better offer or whatever and decides I'm off, he's not under contract, all the players just need to sign a form and say see you later, and that's it. And
But the same thing's happened at Forest Row. They're in our league. They were doing well. Their manager left and went to East Grinstead and took all the players.
Money talks.
Well, whether it's money, whatever it is, but
I'm quite curious about the relationship with the manager and the players, because would you describe it that the players would have a better relationship with the manager than with the club that they're playing? Would you?
Yeah, because the manager you get in attracts the players, but the ethos you want and the equilibrium or the balance you need is the manager that wants to be at the club for the club, and then wants to bring the players in, and then what you do over a couple of seasons, maybe 2 or 3, like Kevin did in the 70s when they won the league, second and first division, is they grow as a family unit, and then everyone is playing for the club. Yeah. But nowadays it's a lot different. Nowadays somebody will leave for an extra £5 petrol expenses to go up the road and play football.
Yeah, but that hasn't really changed, though. I think money, it talks. If someone's not that affluent and someone offers them extra money, they go. I think the thing is, managers are always the key.
Yeah.
And people say to me, it's players that make managers. It's the players that make a team. And I argue at that point, because if you manage the same players and you manage the same players and you manage the same players, you'd end up with 3 different results. And that's the thing. So man management is a massive thing. You know, we talked about Brian Clough earlier. You look at what he achieved with the players he achieved it with, and it was a complete enigma. But so the manager is the key, but the manager is in it for him. He's not in it for the club. If Stuart was managing the team, he'd be managing it for Shoreham. It wouldn't be about him. But if you've got a manager that came in who's doing the job, if he's successful and someone comes and says, "Oh, will you go and manage my team at a higher level?" then there's a good chance he'll want to go. And of course, if he thinks those players are good enough to help him in the next club, he's going to take as many as he can.
Fair enough. We are getting a bit pushed for time. I just wanted to ask quickly. Shoreham have 26 trophies, if I calculated correctly. I think you are knocked out of every competition this particular season, but are trophies on the forefront of your mind at all, because they are the underlying metric for success in football? As with any
No,
sport?
the forefront of every team at our level is get as far as you can in the FA Cup and the FA Vase. You're not going to win it, but it's good to get on a journey,
Of course.
get on a coach with all your supporters and your players, and go play somewhere up north or in the Midlands or whatever it is. Get paid a little bit of money from the very frugal FA people, and then just go on a journey. Bar that, my main priority at the moment, and has been for the last couple of seasons, is staying in the league. A cup run is a cup run. If you're doing good, sometimes your domestic cups interfere with what you want to do in the league. But if you go on a decent cup run, that's great. I think we've been twice the second, the most furthest in the FA Cup trophies. We won twice in the last 20 years. So, but you're never going to win it. But it's good for everybody in the club. And everyone likes a good FA Cup, don't they? And FA way of last.
Yeah, it's great if you get that run.
Yeah.
And as Stuart was saying, depends on your circumstances at the club as to what your ambitions are. You know, is it just to survive in that league, knowing your limitations? And you know, I managed Lewis when they were in the conference, and we played Rushden and Diamonds, and their two forwards, both had played in the Football League, cost more than the rest of my squad. You know, so you know, you get a situation like that, and that was the chap who turned it in.
Oh, hey, that's about that best. Anyway, I wanted to thank you guys for joining us today. It has been a fantastic experience. This has been a fantastic launch of the podcast, I feel, and I hope us two feel as well. We do hope that the microphones haven't screwed up and we do have audio. So there is that.
Me, Kev, could always do a voiceover.
Wow, thank you very much. But it should be okay, all things considered. And if you wanted to sign up.
Yeah, and thanks to Roxanne for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kevin.
No, thanks,
you,
Roxanne, for
your
doing
time.
some due diligence in your historic investigations.
No, but thank you for providing us with the fact about the connection with Brighton.
That's
I think
right,
that would make a good newsletter feature.
It'll
for
make a
us.
very good newsletter.
Yeah.
Well, feel free to take that one down. Take it with you. Take a picture of it. And
We'll take a picture of
Yeah.
it.
yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Thanks for Stuart for taking the time to talk
Oh,
to
you're
us.
welcome.
I hope your knee's better than me.
I just don't. Don't.
And thanks to Kevin for sharing your stories and taking the time out of your day as well to come and speak to us.
Yeah.
And particularly about
cheers,
the book
Kevin.
as well, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. And I want to check it out soon. So that's
Yeah.
on my bucket list. No way.
And if you are listening and you have any experiences or any memories of Shoreham that you'd love to share, please do get in touch via the social media channels or through the club, as it's a docu-series we're running alongside it. So yeah, please do feel free to get in touch. And thank you for listening again, and we hope to see you for episode 2.
Thank you.